Hi there, Elevated Planet community. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet, and today I'm here with my good friend Susan Grau. Hi, Susan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you.
Good.
I'm excited to be talking to you today, as I have explained to the Elevated Planet community on many an occasion over the last year and a half. I've been putting these things together. You were effectively the foundation that began my interest in exploring consciousness and higher consciousness and the reason why we're here and all that kind of thing. And the reason that happened is that back in May 2018, I had my first ever mediumistic reading with Susan. And it was the hour that changed my life. I would never have gone to that kind of thing. My daughter had had a reading herself, and she'd suggested Susan, because I realized I needed to go as well, because her reading included messages for me. So I thought, well, that's weird. This must be real, or there's got to be something in it. So I thought I'd better explore this for myself. And the hour that I had in your office, Susan, was the most incredible hour. And I remember when I left your office, and I was just like, it felt weird. It was like floating on a bit of a cloud. I thought, well, life is never going to be the same again now, is it?
Those are such kind words. I know that I'm the conduit, and I'm so grateful for that. But I also know that I had to be willing to be that. And I have to utilize my journey for that. And so I take that as an honor to be able to do that. So although I don't claim it all, I do know that I have a part in it. And that is like anything we do, right? We have a part, if you go to a job, anything you do. Yeah. For me, it's a very stressful work. A lot of mediums I don't hear say that, and a lot I do. It just depends upon who you're talking to. But it is very stressful work because we are trying to show someone who is, shut off, doubtful, crossing their arms, that there is a world beyond them, and there is a journey beyond them, and their loved ones are there. And if we fail at that, we feel that internally. I wish we did, but we did. Even though we know it's their decision to make when they're ready to hear it, we still feel like if we did more, if we said more, so it's a very stressful job. And I don't think people recognize that with mediums. Well, we're healers, and it's like going into heart surgery every day, and knowing that you could take a life if you're not on it. Yeah. If you've had a bad day and not a good sleep, not, haven't eaten right, whatever, and you're walking, or haven't eaten at all, and you walk in and you open someone's heart, you're taking a risk with their life in a way that, and you're already doing that anyway. So it's not something that, I just smile about all the time. Sometimes I'll go to work and I'll say, what if I'm fooling people? What if this is all, I'll tell my people that work for me, what if I'm making all this up? And what if it's not real? And I do this often. And they'll say to me, come talk to me after you're done doing all your readings, and then tell me you feel that way. And then I'll come out and go, it's impossible. I couldn't have known that, so it's like, I still have that too. And when people are saying to me, I can't believe you know that, or they'll go, oh, like in shock, and all inside I'm going, oh, how did I know that? I'm doing the same thing they're doing. I'm in my human experience, but I can't show it because I'm the, I'm the reader. I'm not supposed to show that. But a lot of times I'll tell them, I feel how you feel right now. I'm blown away. Yeah. I'm blown away at how powerful it really is. And so that honesty, that realism takes you off of that notched level that you tend to see with people who do spiritual work. At times you'll see them up like they're higher than, and I just can't go there, because I know I'm just as much awe and shock, and I've been doing this a long time, and I still feel that way. I still am like, oh my God, how did I know that? So, and when you say it changed you, or it set you on a different path, or it made you realize they were there, it was so profound. I'm in awe of that too. You're talking, I'm thinking, wow, really?
Oh, for sure.
And I hear it, and I've heard it a lot, but I still go there. And it's not just because I'm so humble I can't stand it, because nobody is in the human condition. We are a little humble, hopefully, but we all have ego. That's how we, don't sting me, the bee, and don't run me over, car. And we have ego. It's necessary on this planet to survival. But I still, till this day, I'm sitting there looking at you as you're saying it, and I'm going, wow, what I said had that impact.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me.
Do you know, one of the other things that I recall from that first reading that I had was that my father-in-law, who'd come through quite powerfully, and he was even able to move the gong that you had on the cabinet behind you. And he said, he's doing that. He said, that's unusual to see somebody who's passed over to be able to do that. And you could see it just moving. It was, you know, it was not this, but it was definitely moving. There was no draft in the room. There was no fan. There was no nothing. And yet and then he said afterwards, you asked him the question, would you allow us to see your orb after the reading? I thought, okay, well, what does that look like then? So anyway, after the reading, we then went through into your first room, if you like, where you walk into, and you had a camera set up there that shows specific energy. You know, you can see energy that you can't see with the naked eye, if you like.
Security camera.
Is it what?
It's just a security camera from ADT.
Okay, security camera. And again, and I think this is the thing, because I do know that cameras can pick up on things that are beyond our normal optical kind of vision.
Yes.
And we went in there and we waited, and I was watching this screen, and then after a few seconds, you said something like, "Oh, they don't know that we're here yet." And then you see one of these things come through, these little beams of light, and then there were about another 8 or 9 with it as well immediately after, and they're all starting to whiz around the room. And what you'd said to my father-in-law, to prove which one is you, to travel through my body, basically. And we did. One of them split off, and it came through me. It was like, I mean, honestly, it was just so incredible to see that. But it was like so many lessons about this stuff. That somebody who was a very left brain finance numbers person who deals in facts, to be confronted with an hour's worth of stuff that kind of burst my reality bubble completely. But I loved it. It was so uplifting. But
I remember your face like, are you kidding me right now? You know, because, you know, I know that dust can be on cameras. I'm
Right.
very familiar with that. And I know that little, you know, flies and things like that can get on camera, the little bugs we can't see. So I'm always asking them, do something that this dust isn't able to do, and do it now.
Yes.
If it's really an orb, if it's really spirit, you know, and I always know they're there because I feel them, but I want the client to see the difference.
Yeah.
I'll ask them to go in me and out of me, and they'll come up through my feet and go to my chest, and then they'll go back out all the way down my body, out my feet. Or there was this one experience, John, it's mind blowing. I actually have it on posted somewhere. I think it's on YouTube. I was dealing with a lot of loss of children that week. And I was really struggling internally. I mean, I didn't know if I could keep doing the work. I probably saw 10 people who lost their child in some horrible way.
Wow.
And one of the ways was a woman who lost 3 of her children in an accident. She couldn't get them out of the car. And it's a long story. I don't even want to go into it. It's so horrific to me. Not for the children, but for her. The children were fine. They were safe and secure. Yeah. And I'm sitting on my couch in the front room, and I'm looking at the screen, and I just said, I can't. I love you all. I thank you for this beautiful gift, but I can't. I have to stop. I can't do this. My heart is broken. And I was crying, and it was showering like dust, showering orbs.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that's strange. And then I said, my heart is broken. And it stopped showering 100%. You'll see this on camera. It stopped completely. And all of a sudden, this beautiful orb shaped like a heart flies in front of me on camera, sits there for a minute and starts moving, like dropping out of nowhere, and then goes, and then it starts showering again. It was completely clear. And then all of a sudden it just went crazy, almost as if all the little orbs that followed this, whatever this beautiful, powerful orb was, they honored it, stopped, and I said, okay, I can do this. It filled my heart, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a complete shift. And I knew the message was, is we carry your heart, and we love you, and you are not alone. And I was blown away. And I actually ended up putting it up, and everyone who sees it says, well, it could have been, it looked like a feather heart. It was it's so hard to describe. You have to see it. And when I put on YouTube, people go, well, that's just does that. And then they write me later and go, I've been watching this over and over, and I noticed that the dust stopped. The dust stopped. And then this thing came up. And did you throw it up in the air? And I'm like, okay, this is a see-through orb. I can't throw that up in the air and make it look like something. And it dropped very slowly. Mind-blowing.
Wow.
And that's when I knew. That's when I really, really knew. This was years ago, but it's still up on YouTube. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that they were there at that moment. But then, you go back to work and you go, are you really here? So, but that was the most healing experience.
And that reminds me, actually, and that during that reading, two of the entities that came forward were my grandparents, who used to live in Germany, so Oma and Opa as I knew them. And when they came through, the message they gave you was that they were just as close in the afterlife as they were in this life. They were still together, and there was still love, and there was still, which I thought was a beautiful message. And I remembered that. And it was interesting because my partner and I, she always has this thing about orbs, seeing orbs and things. And I started to do the same thing. And occasionally I would start to scan the room at night with my camera, with a little light on it, and then just spot the activity. And it was quite interesting. I remember once I asked my grandparents if they would be happy, if they would be prepared to show themselves to me. And it was like, what happened is that the wall, like I was in bed, the wall's over there, and then these two orbs came out from the wall. They came towards the camera. As they came, they sort of dropped down a bit and then came back into view, but they joined together to form a heart shape in front, and then went disappearing back off through the wall again. And
I like mind-blowing. And I like that you say through the wall, because people don't understand. Yes, there's dust on walls. And I say this because clearly, if you throw dust in a room, you're going to see little orbs flying everywhere. They're going to be like, so it's so important that they understand the difference. So they're not coming off the wall. They're coming through the wall as they're pulsating.
Yeah.
My camera is black and white. It's just a security camera. And I see color on camera of bright blues and greens and reds occasionally, not always. It's a black and white camera. And I go, how is that possible? Like, how did that just happen? There's nothing going on in here. It's pitch black and blinds are down. There's nothing to create that. And so, and they're orbs. And I love the way they pulsate, when they're coming. When I lost my dog, I was, two things happened, but one, I had an orb come to me, and I blew up the orb. Like, I took a picture of it, and then I kept stretching it and stretching it. And it was my dog's face. Exactly. My dog's exactly. You can't deny a Shih Tzu's, face with the nose and everything. And that was mind blowing to me. And then I have one where there's a perfect little orbs through the big orb across. So it looks exactly, and I have it online. It looks, and you can see it lit up inside, a perfect cross. But they're little circles being carried by this big orb. Just things like that just blow your mind, that you go, okay, this can't be, but it is.
And that's, and again, to that exact same point, because my partner and I had an interest in this, and we used to kind of like flash the camera around at night just to sort of like pick up whatever was there. And then if there was anything very, that comes at the camera and you can pick it up and it's translucent, and you can actually zoom in, like, as you say, you can like just
stretch it.
Out. And we've seen faces. We've definitely seen faces. Sometimes we've seen animals, and sometimes we've seen human faces. But you do see it. It's just like remarkable. I mean, honestly, I would say to anybody that listens to this, if you want to give it a go, I don't guarantee you it's going to work, but it's just an interesting thing. We would always do this when it's dark, but the flashlight comes onto the camera, and that's what kind of picks it up. Now, I think you can differentiate dust activity from orb activity because the pattern and the movement is very different. It's very directed, and you see it turning corners and going, but try it, see if you get any joy from it. If you do, let us know on ElevatedPlanet.Life. Come on through and tell us. And even if you don't anyway, because
and they can be giant. I mean, I'm talking like a huge beach ball.
Wow.
They can come through like that. They do in my office. The one that went up inside my waist and came back out, it was like a beach ball.
Wow.
And it was pulsing into me, and I could feel it. It was just like, oh my God, I feel this going towards my heart. It was beautiful. Yeah. And so, orbs are a beautiful subject. There's something that the same way that spirituality gets debunked, the same way that mediumship gets debunked, and all these other things, you can be sure that people are going to debunk it. But it doesn't matter. It's what you understand and know and believe and trust that matters. And there are people that try to fool mediums. It happens all the time. I'm going to prove them to be, and then they'll say, they'll yes, I lost my son. Yes. And you're saying, well, these are the messages I'm getting from a gentleman in this room. I'm very cautious not to say this is absolutely your child, because there always are spirits in the room. And then, this hasn't happened to me yet. I'm sure it will. But what ultimately they might say to a medium, well, I didn't lose my child. I lied. And then they call you a liar. Now listen to that. I didn't lose my child. I lied to test you. I lied is what they're saying. And then they call you a liar. So spirit will show up no matter what.
Yeah.
If you couldn't talk and you weren't able to communicate with anyone, and you were sitting in a room as an orb or a spirit next to me, and you said, I love that woman's dress over there. And I said, oh, in my mind, I love it too. And then you said, in those green shoes, man, those are knockouts. And I said, I love those green shoes too. I'd like to have them. In my mind, you'd go, she can hear me. I'm not going to leave her alone. I'm going to talk and talk and talk. I'm going to show up at every chance I get to be able to speak. This woman can hear me, or this man can hear me. And you would share and share and share as though these people are yours. Right? So I don't know your story. If you claim them, they will come. Right? They may not be yours because you're not claiming them fairly and honestly, and you're lying about it, but they will come because they can. And they will talk and talk and talk, and they'll say whatever they can say to get your attention, as long as it's not dishonest. So if you say your son died of suicide, I don't know your story. If someone comes through that died of suicide, that was your son's age, because they want to talk, and you keep claiming it, I'm oblivious to that, your story. But people don't understand that. So they go, see, they're liars, and so it's very stressful, because I tell them, if you claim them, I'm going to believe you, because they're going to keep talking. So I want you to know that you need to be absolute that it's them. That's why I do evidential mediumship. I want evidence, so that you, not me, you can say, yes, that's my family.